Assalamu alaikum. That is, may the Creator's peace and blessings be upon you and who you represent. We believe all human beings represent more than just themselves. This is Words Make People. A word is anything that brings a message to your mind. And we're excited here today. My name, always, Brother Kadir. And we're asking you, call a friend, a neighbor, relative, cousin, someone you know, co-worker. Ask them to tune in. We have a very special guest with us today. And when I say special, meaning a young person that's working for us in the community as a council person. And so before we have this excellent interview with Councilman Sergio, let's pray for all those that are suffering from the loss of loved ones, especially those abroad at the current time with the devastations of over 7,000, we understand, all that happened within a day or two. And so we ask the Creator of the heavens and the earth to have mercy and peace and forgive all those that passed, that didn't have what it was necessary for them to receive the true blessings from the Creator. And all those from COVID, all those from germs, from heart attack, from all ailments, we ask the Creator to have mercy upon them and bless them into a better place. And we ask the Creator to bless those that are in mourning for the loved ones that they've lost during this month of African American History Month, the ancestors that help us get to this point, to where we are today, where we have an excellent young council person representing us for our ward and for the citizens that are striving to do the most appropriate thing, and that is make good sense of the things that the Creator has given us in this marvelous, beautiful creation. And so we want to make sure that all of us are striving to make sure that we focus on what is necessary, helping our seniors, helping our young people, helping those that need assistance, and looking forward to not just complaining about law enforcement and those that don't deserve the badge and those that are in politics that are going topsy-turvy and all those other things. Let's not forget what we have to do in our communities here in Albany. Councilman Sergio, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming today. We really appreciate the invitation that you accepted from us to come and share with us. We know you have a lot to share with us, and so I'm going to just calm myself down today and allow for you to first introduce yourself and share with us and let us know, your upbringing, where you came from, and your inspiration to born to be in this field of endeavor of politics.
Sure. Again, well, thank you for having me on. It's
welcome.
A pleasure to be here with you, and happy Black History Month to everyone. And so just a little bit about myself.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Sergio Adams. I'm the now elected council person for Albany's 7th Ward, and that's the area of Morton Avenue, Delaware Avenue, New Scotland, as well as part of 2nd Avenue, Whitehall, Academy Road.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first full year as a council person going into my 2nd year.
Excellent. Congratulations.
So I was really excited about that. I originally came up to Albany for school, for college.
Okay.
However, I moved up here to Troy as a teenager, where I finished school at. My family relocated from Harlem back in 2006, 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time we had a fire, so we relocated to Troy, New York. There was a pastor at the time who our family was connected to that took us in. And so
excellent.
That was my experience for the first few years of adjusting to life in Troy.
Yes.
And eventually after graduation, applying to schools, going to college, I ended up at the University at Albany. Mm-hmm. And while there, I got my degree in urban planning with a focus in housing and community development.
Beautiful.
From there on, my focus was in community. Studying urban planning, studying community development, for me was exciting because growing up, I always looked around my surroundings, my community, and always wondered, how did this get here? How did this get here? Why does this operate this way?
That sounded like me when I was coming up.
And that's a planner's mindset.
Yes.
And so when you think like that, once you start to learn the intricacies of community and how people work, the work you see speaks for itself.
Yes.
You see the passion and love that a person has for their community, regardless of the condition. It could be a good neighborhood, it could be a bad neighborhood.
Sure.
But a person has some type of love, some type of connection to that.
Yes.
And,
Wow. Excellent.
When you look at that, it's then, we have these societal issues that are prevalent in all of our communities of violence, drugs, education, workforce development, and all that ties back into urban planning and community development. When you're looking at a neighborhood, when you're looking at a community or a large scale city, you have to start to think about how all these things play a role and also correlate with each other.
Sure.
Of trying to address a problem. And so for me, having that knowledge and interest, I came right out of school. I started doing internships and working with a lot of the housing organizations here in the city of Albany, with the South End Improvement Corporation, with United Tenants, Housing for All, working with the Albany Affordable Housing and the Housing Authority, as well as the planning department to do an internship there.
Wow.
And so all that experience allowed me to get a good understanding for the city of Albany, and also made me appreciate what the city of Albany had to offer, but also realizing and seeing the potential that lies here in the city of Albany. And it's just taking, the right people, doing the right things,
Sure.
Coming together, sharing ideas, collaborating, and executing on these ideas. And for a long time, I worked just in the nonprofit area, just doing community work. And over the years, I started to realize that whenever we wanted to really make a change, a significant change in our community, it always came down to government and politics that was either slowing it up or blocking it, or you just needed to get through.
Sure.
So I always had an interest in political science and politics. So I didn't necessarily think that that was the route that I was going to go, but the experiences and challenges that I was facing and obstacles that I had to overcome kind of set me up to go down this path where I realized if I'm going to live in Albany, I don't want people, my family, my friends, nor the people in the city to have to live in conditions that we know we can do better in.
Sure.
And so with that, I said, what do I have to lose?
Yes,
I'm young.
absolutely. Absolutely.
At the time, I was 24 years old. And I felt like, again, I had nothing to lose, so why not?
Yeah.
It wasn't anything difficult that was to figure out. I literally went on my phone and Googled how to become a council member. It gave me the steps.
Excellent.
And I literally just started checking off and starting to do those things to get me to the point back in 2017 when I ran for the Common Council seat for the 7th Ward. I was running against one at the time, like a 14-year or 12-year incumbent. As a young person, never involved in politics without any, political backing or connections. Just a eager and passionate.
Well, you
mentality.
were eager because you knocked on my door, and I saw you, and I said, "Well, what do we have here?" And
because
that's excellent. There are two things I want to do right now, and one, make sure you give out whatever telephone number or email or contact, social media where people can contact you.
Sure.
And then two, you remind me of when I was living in Harlem and I looked around and I didn't see any semblance of any appreciation for any business in Manhattan at all. Being raised in Sugar Hill, and so you just brought back good memories, and that's what caused me to get involved as well too. And so I just would like for you to share with us what advice would you have for the newly elected 18-year-old in Arkansas, 18-year-old mayor, you know.
Well, I seen that on social media, and you know, my advice is to take it day by day.
Yes.
Because in these positions, you have people who come to you, who want to get in your ear, who sometimes have good advice, sometimes have bad motives for you. And at that age, it's hard to distinguish between who's helping you and who's trying to put roadblocks in your way. And so, you know, I would say, you know, take it day by day, making sure you're surrounding yourself around positive people,
Sure.
a close-knit circle
Good
of
advice.
people that you trust, you love, that has your best interest, but also to keep the same energy, you know, that puts you in that seat.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that's, you know, that's my own advice that I take of, if I was able to put this energy in to get here, then I should be able to continue that type of energy and put even more energy
Sure.
now that I'm in. And, you know, he's already making history. And,
Excellent.
There's a lot of young black brothers around who are making history.
Good, that's right.
in their fields. And, you know, as a brother of Kappa Alpha Psi, you know, our fraternity, you know, ideals is achievement in every field of human endeavor.
Yes.
So no matter what you're doing, you're putting your best foot forward to be the best at it. Whether you're a carpenter,
Yes.
whether you're a barista,
That's
whether
right.
you're a mechanic, whether you're an engineer,
Absolutely.
whether you're an elected official.
Absolutely.
So
Well, you brought in speaking, you brought something to my attention, and that is, you know, yesterday I heard how there are those elements that try to take down the infrastructure in Baltimore, in Maryland, by trying to shoot weapons into the structure of like a national grid or something like that, you know. And so they got arrested.
Okay.
And a whole group of them got arrested, you know. And so I don't know if it was because they have the first African-American governor in Maryland.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to say that, but I would bring it to your attention to say that we should have a shield around our, I guess we can ask National Grid to put a shield around their protective sources here, but I want to bring it to your attention so I can get your advice, you know, in the future, because I think it's important that we protect what we have, because there are those that want to do damage to certain places that would cause for really catastrophic consequences for those who don't have already,
Sure.
and those that do have as well, you know. So, but well, we're here today primarily because we want to find out from you just exactly what's going on in the ward, what's going on in the county, in Albany, so you can share with us, you know, things like, for instance, the experiment, the project, you know, that's about to be demolished over on Morton, and maybe some other things that you may have that our people need to hear, because be assured, this is not your last visit. We want you to come back as well,
absolutely.
too, okay? To share more with us whenever you think necessary, so this way you can share with the public on certain things that's going on, because many people only vote once every 4 years.
unfortunately,
And people that should vote 12 times in 4 years.
there's
So
enough elections that come up for them.
you better
too.
believe it. So please share with us more.
You know, as you mentioned just now, with the demolishing of Lincoln Square Towers down on Morton Avenue, just to clarify, you know, one of the things that is happening or is taking place currently is the redistricting lines of the whole entire city of Albany. And so that's a huge thing that's been going underway, where the committee the task force who was tasked with, you know, redrawing the lines and creating this, did their job, completed it a few months back, and had presented it to the Common Council for us to finally vote and make it official. Within that conversation, there's, you know, a lot of community residents and members that are upset with some of the new proposed lines, because it splits certain neighborhoods that have been together for a while. You know, more so.
Does this happen through the planning board?
No, so this is an independent task force that
really?
was created to take on this.
Created by whom?
The city. So these are
When you say
residents,
city,
the city of Albany.
What particular city? Because the city, I'm thinking the common council, unless it's the mayor.
Well, yeah.
Unless it's the county executive. But I'm just, I like to
Yeah,
know,
well-
when you say who is the city now, what portion of the city that designated for this group to take on this task to bring back to be presented to the Common Council?
Yeah. So again, it would come from like the mayor's office,
Okay.
along with it comes to us, the Common Council, for us to vote on and
Okay.
stuff. But the creation of it came from the administration of saying, you know, the census came out, we have to do this redistricting. We want to make sure that the new population of people are accounted for within these new lines. And a lot of the plans for this was to try to increase and make more majority districts in the city of Albany. So for individuals, you know, who don't know, you know, the city of Albany has a history of some racial inequities when it comes to voting and housing. And where people live, redistricting and redlining. So that history has led for a lot of our neighborhoods to, up until now, be pretty dominated by one specific group of people. The goal now is to try to bring equity, make sure that every neighborhood has a fair opportunity to elect and pick who they want their representatives to be.
Sure.
So for example, you know, the district that I represent, the 7th Ward, until I came into office was mainly looked at as a majority white district.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
We have diversity on Delaware Avenue. We all know that.
Of course.
But
Sure.
the people that vote, that make up, you know, these voting blocks are normally white people. So forever, you've had white elected officials hold this particular seat.
Yes.
And it wasn't until we were able to tap into a new voter base of people of color, tap into, you know, our Hispanic population that's growing in our ward.
Yes.
And just people who just didn't vote and trying to get them to vote. And so now, you know, the city recognizes that we need more representation because our neighborhoods are changing.
Yes.
So that's what's going on with that right now. Again, people have some concerns about how the lines are. And, you know, so I say that to say that, you know, if people have concerns, thoughts, feedback on their lines and how their neighborhood is going to be impacted by it, feel free to reach out to myself. Feel free to come to our Common Council meetings.
What are the Common Council meetings?
So our Common Council meetings are the first and third Monday of the month.
First and third Monday of the month. What time?
Usually starts about 6 o'clock, 6:30.
Okay. And where's it located?
At City Hall, down
At
on
City
Eagle
Hall?
Street.
On Eagle Street. Okay.
Correct.
Great.
And so I just want to say, please share your feedback, recommendations, because although at this point it's kind of hard to change things now at this point, we still want to be able to understand how residents feel about it, because we're going to have to re-engage new constituents who are now in our ward.
Okay.
So for example, for the 7th Ward, it actually got expanded down a bit, Morton Avenue. So
further down, like South Pearl or
going close. So it's closer now to Morton Avenue, and I think it's probably going to be about Eagle Street. So
what is the intent for the demolition, and what's going to replace it, and what?
Yeah. So to that, because of all that's happening right now, a few weeks ago, the Housing Authority, along with the College of Hudson Valley, in partnership with Capitalize Albany, who does a lot of the assistance for businesses and stuff like that here in the city of Albany. They came to the Common Council meeting and updated us on this grant application that they came into. And this grant application would allow them to get the funding to demolish the buildings. According to the Albany Housing Authority and HUD, the Lincoln Towers are no longer habitable. HUD has deemed them not in any condition to be reused, be refixed. So at this point, the city has to look at demolishing the buildings.
Okay.
And so in doing so, they needed a lot of money to do so. Between the city, Albany Housing Authority, they needed still millions of dollars to actually bring this plan to fruition. And so
So the habitants were relocated?
Yep. So with the rehousing of the residents that lived in Albany housing over the last I would say like 5 years, they've been slowly phasing out tenants of the building. Like my mom, she lived in 1 Lincoln Square. And so she moved probably like 3 years ago. And what they did was they provided residents with either a subsidy voucher or provided them with like Section 8.
Sure.
So residents who lived in the buildings had the opportunity or choice to either, accept the Section 8 or do the voucher. And so I believe as of just, last year, they finished clearing out the building. And right now, the building has been sitting there vacant, but there's been public safety issues around the building because it's just been sitting there vacant. And so that's why if you see now, if you're driving around Morin Avenue, you see the building boarded up. It has the wooden planks in the windows. It has fences, the fence all around. And that was to keep people out because, while the building didn't have it, people were apparently breaking in, damaging property, stealing whatever they can out, sleeping in there. So we wanted to make sure, Albany Housing Authority wanted to make sure that that didn't happen. So they put the fence up. But back to the application process, because that's really the way that this project happens, is that the city of Albany gets approved for this application grant to be able to get the money to tear down and demolish the buildings. Okay.
Well, we're going to have you come back more because whether you know it, we only got 5 minutes left, and and we got you got much more to talk about.
Okay. Let's keep it going.
So maybe you can try to
let me
talk about some other topics or what.
Well, let me segue into that because we did cover the redistricting. We just talked about the towers. So the next thing is the Lincoln Park Master Plan that's been happening.
Yes.
The redevelopment, and that's been happening over the last 2 years.
What is that redevelopment for? Well, what are they doing now? Well, what is this for?
It's just redeveloping the whole entire park.
Okay.
So,
and above the park, they're doing something over there as well, too.
Yes, but that's a different phase. So the top part of the Lincoln Park is the Beaver Creek sewer project.
Yes.
And that's to mitigate the water and sewer issues that the city of Albany has. The water comes down from uptown. It comes to that site. That site is going to offshoot it to a pipeline, I think, that goes somewhere off of 3rd Avenue and goes out somewhere else.
All right.
So that's one separate project, but it's being blended into the Lincoln Park Master Plan to make sure that it all is cohesive.
Yes.
But the plans for the Lincoln Park is to renovate the pool house. That needs major repair. If anyone has been in there in recent years, the equipment is old. We need updated equipment for the kids and stuff in the community. With that is the issue with the Lincoln Park pool of, every day it's linking tons and tons of water. It costs the city. The city looked into a study to see if it was a way to preserve the pool in its current shape. They said it's not. And so when it came to the redesign of the pool, community members, the planning department, other organizations came together to start looking at different types of designs for the pool. So off the top of my head, I know there's going to be like a Olympic-sized pool. That way, we can have competitions and things there, teaching kids how to swim. There's still going to be like zero gravity type of pool, and just smaller pools off of the main one. But they're also building a playground set inside. That way, parents who have kids in the pool, they don't have to pick and choose where they are. They can have their kids right there close by and still be able to keep an eye on their kids inside the pool. Finally, there's going to be hopefully bathrooms and access to bathrooms inside of Lincoln Park for people to use. There's talks of the amphitheater being built so that way community members, organizations, schools can host plays and do all types of stuff. Inside the bowl, they're regrading the field with new grass. They're going to be adding different fields inside the bowl.
Sure.
So again, just making it
Real nice upgrade, huh?
yeah, it's a huge upgrade, millions of dollars. You know, it still is costing the city money in order to bring this. And luckily enough, we were able to find a partner with Business for Good, who is actually putting up $1 million out of their business, but also helping to fundraise $10 million.
We got a minute and a half
to
left.
actually make this happen. So I'm very excited about that project.
Sure.
And you know, one of the other things that we're working
We're going to
on,
have you come back and talk about all of this again as well, too, and soon.
Sure. One of the other things, important things that is going on right now is the city of Albany looking to implement cannabis here in the city of Albany as a new growing industry that is taking over New York. We just had about 3 or 4 curd licensees open up shop, or will be opening up shop within the next coming weeks. Albany, Schenectady in the area. And, you know, these guys they're doing it, they're prepared, they got their stuff together, but on a community level, we still have to examine and look at, you know, what we want this to look at. And right now, there's a survey out on the City of Albany's website for residents to go on to take the survey. It's a really quick 5-minute survey. There's also flyers posted around the city at City Hall if they're interested. And again, this is an opportunity for them to weigh in on
how can they contact you? What's the best way to
The best way to contact me is through my email at this point, which is sadams, SADAMS, @albanyny.gov. I'm also on social media on Facebook as Sergio Adams, SCRGIOADAMS, and I'm also on Instagram at Sergio4Council. That's SERGIO, the number 4, and Council. And so I'm pretty accessible. I would give my number out, but that's also already public information. So anyone who wants to reach out to me, please do.
Excellent. So we've heard from Councilman Sergio Adams today. We're going to get him back sooner than later because there's quite a bit to cover here. And for those of you that want to know more, you can always call me at 518-779-5893 for questions you want me to ask our councilman. And so thank you for tuning in today. May God's peace and blessings be upon all of you and your family. Assalamu alaikum.